Hello!
Hello everyone, this is Ultra, and in today's video, I want to share with you 5 amazing PlayStation 2 games I would love to see ported to the Switch. When it comes to games, playing older titles on a newer platform has always felt so refreshing, especially when the game has undergone a remaster or a complete remake. As a gamer myself, I love to see many older games getting a complete revive and being brought right back into the spotlight, especially among new players that may have never heard of the game. This kind of thing makes me feel extra special to see my childhood game get reintroduced to a new generation of squeakers. Having that nostalgia feeling for older games will always be in every gamer's heart. That being said, if you're watching this video, you're probably a gamer yourself, and I'm sure you would agree that seeing your favorite game getting a revive, becoming a remastered or a remake, or just a simple port over of an original is always exciting to see. Now before we get started, I must remind you all that this is my 5 wish list of games I would love to see ported to the Switch. So your list of games will quite possibly be different from mine, and that's okay. There is never a wrong or right answer here, as your top 5 can be just as wishful as mine. So without further ado, let's jump right into things.
Number 1.
Way of the Samurai 1 and 2. Way of the Samurai 1 and 2, first released on the PlayStation 2, is an action-adventure role-playing game. At the start of the game, you play as a nameless Ronin samurai who wandered into a village without any real backstory. What makes this game so notable is that it has a branching storyline, which allows the player to make decisions that can ultimately alter the course of the story with many different endings. For instance, at the very start of the first game, there's a small cutscene that shows a woman being essentially taken against her will by a group of samurais. You can choose to save her or simply let the thugs carry her off. The choice is ultimately yours, and whichever decisions you make will open a new branch into the storyline, for the good or for the bad. Without any backstory of your character, this leaves plenty of room for you to define who you are as a samurai. In other words, you can go in as an honorable samurai who only does honorable things, such as saving the lady. Or you can choose to be a ruthless, murderous samurai that can ultimately lead down a different path. The possibility is endless. Now this is not to say there isn't a story completely. This game sets you right at the edge of a building conflict waiting to happen within a village, and your untimely presence can alter the fate of how the story progresses and ends. And that's what makes Way of the Samurai so unique, with the power to choose your own destiny. One of the best features about the game is that it allows you some level of customization over your character. You can pick among several different character models, along with some really cool traditional Japanese clothing to choose from. And you can even name your samurai that NPC characters will use periodically throughout the game. Through your journey, you can collect many different swords you've obtained from fallen enemies and add them to your wide collection of arsenal to use at the start of your next playthrough, and so much more. Way of the Samurai had tons of replay values of discovering new endings based on your actions and decisions, unlockables, customization, and much more. To see a port or even an HD remastered would be extremely awesome to see for many players like myself who still remember this game.
Number 2.
Beautiful Joe 1 and 2. Beautiful Joe is a side-scrolling beat-em-up game I can easily see being ported to the Switch someday, as the game was first released on GameCube before it later saw a port on the PlayStation 2 platform. Beautiful Joe is not just any typical side-scroller. Keeping alive the very traditional 2D side-scrolling and beat 'em up, it was also intermixed with 3D cell shading, which is my favorite kind of artistic work in any video game. You may have seen it in other games such as Borderlands series, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Naruto Ultimate Ninja series, and much more. Beautiful Joe definitely stood from among the rest with its very flashy and colorful design and has been one of the coolest games I've ever played. But in case if you're not familiar with the game centers around an avid moviegoer named Joe, whose girlfriend Sylvia is kidnapped by a villain inside a film starring Joe's favorite superhero, Captain Blue. Joe is shortly thereafter thrust into the movie land, though Sylvia is taken by the villainous group named Jado. After receiving the V-Watch from Captain Blue, Joe transforms into his styled persona, Beautiful Joe, and sets out to rescue her. What makes this game so unique is the awesome gameplay element in the form of Joe's power, which is designed to emulate camera tricks seen in many movies and film known as VFX. The VFX plays a major role in both combating against enemies and enemy bosses, as well as solving many elaborate puzzles, such as slowing down time, speeding up time, and zooming in. Each of these abilities come with its own set of advantages. For instance, being able to deal extra damage when slowing down time. The game also contains platforming elements which allows you to jump or even double jump. As you're kicking and punching out enemies, you can form combos and long chains of attack. Defeating them gives players V-points in the form of small or large coins that can later be used in between stages to purchase new abilities, expendable weapons, more health, and much more. One of the major reasons why I like the game so much is the grading system. Beautiful Joe consists of several interconnected missions or scenes that the player must complete in order to advance. At the end of every stage, you are graded on the number of B points earned, amount of time taken, and how much damage you took. This kind of thing always encourages players to shoot for a higher score or possibly go for the take no damage challenge. Beautiful Joe is a classic and in my opinion would be an instant sell to veteran players like myself and likewise to many new ones. Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 were all first released on the PlayStation 2 and has since been remastered several times. What can I really say about Devil May Cry? Everything about the core gameplay and story is incredible from beginning to the end. Hacking, slashing, and shooting your way through dark demonic forces, performing insane change of combos on the ground and in midair, and battling against many intense boss fights with a force to be reckoned with. This game was solely designed for hardcore players. If you're familiar with the game Bayonetta, then you know what I'm talking about. Bayonetta is clearly the female version of Dante. To briefly put, the series centers around the main character Dante, whose goal is to avenge his mother's death by exterminating demons. The game consists of heavy combat in which players must attempt to extend long chains of combos while avoiding damage in order to exhibit styled combat. And yes, you actually look and feel pretty cool when you walk away from an intense battle unscratched. Just like Beautiful Joe, the game also features a grading system based on your overall performance with time, item, damage, etc., urging players to strive for a better high score while trying not to take any damage, with an S ranking being the highest you can achieve in each mission. One thing I absolutely love about the first game is its difficulty setting. It was hard enough just playing on normal until I've gotten a lot better. Then there's hard mode, which greatly increases everything you would expect, from enemies gaining more health, strength, etc. And finally, the hardest of all, Dante Must Die mode. This mode really, and I mean really, puts you to the test, and I can't tell you how many times I've raved trying to beat it. Long story short, I was literally down to one health potion left, fighting the Prince of Darkness, who was the final boss fight of the game, and I literally couldn't afford to take any damage by this point. Another cool feature about the game is New Game Plus, which allows you to carry all of your unused items such as health potion, power-up, abilities, unlocked weapons, and so on, onto the harder setting. Devil May Cry is definitely worth a port to the Switch. I'm sure many hardcore fans of the series would love to get a chance to re-experience the ruthlessness, brutality of Devil May Cry.
Number 4.
Onimusha Warlord, Samurai Destiny, Demon's Age, and Dawn of Green were all released on PlayStation 2. To be honest, I'm actually shocked the Onimusha series hasn't seen a port of any kind, or even a remastered. And this is one of Capcom's 7th best-selling franchise ever, right behind Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Street Fighter, Mega Man, Devil May Cry, and Dead Rising series. Seriously, die-hard fans including myself have been waiting forever to see another Onimusha title, or at the least a remastered definitive collection, or something. But all that aside, what's really cool about Onimusha is that it makes use of actual historical figures that shaped or played a major part in Japan's history during the feudal era, retelling their story with a darker and supernatural element. It's an action-adventure game with a combination of third-person combat and puzzle solving. The protagonist of each game is a samurai who wields the power of the Oni, which is a race of legendary warriors who can defeat evil demons known as Jinma, and ultimately the key to defeating the Demon King, Nobunaga. One of the prominent roles and essential key to surviving in every Onimusha game is to absorb your enemy's soul after slaying them, to which help restore health, infuse powers in weapons and armors, and provide powers for elemental attack, of special weapons, and much more. Now before playing Onimusha, I didn't know too much about Japan's history, but it was definitely through Onimusha that awoken a new fascinating interest into the history of Japan, starting with historical figures like Oda Nobunaga, who was a powerful daimyo and one of the first unifier of Japan during the late Sengoku period. On a side note, Oda Nobunaga has made many appearances in video games and anime with their own twists in the retelling of Nobunaga's reign as a unifier. You'd be surprised to find out Nobunaga was even featured in a Pokemon game called Pokemon Conquest, a game about conquering the region with Pokemon and becoming the strongest unifier, but that's an entirely different subject. Onimusha is one of those gems you just have to play. It has a very dark but captivating story about stopping the demon lord Nobunaga from unifying all of Japan with his demonic influence, and there are amazing playable characters you will discover along your journey in all of the series, fighting tough and various monsters aka Jinma, and crazy boss battles. In my opinion, I imagine most people my age and up would be the core audience, so a Switch port would be necessary, especially to die-hard fans like myself.
Number 5.
Exit 1 and 2. Now Exit is not a PlayStation 2 title, but I included it on this list as one of my favorite games that could fit well in Nintendo's indies market. Exit is an action/puzzle game that was first released on the PlayStation Portable and later saw a port over to the Xbox 360 via Xbox Live Arcade and Nintendo DS. The basic premise of the game is to lead the main character, Mr. X, an escapologist, aka escape artist, out of burning building, hospital, underground facilities, office, and other buildings under a time limit. That sounds pretty simple, right? But what makes this game very unique is that you're met with many obstacles such as fire, earthquake, floods, or even meteor showers, all the while trying to help and save trapped survivors escape with their lives. To break it down simply, your mission is to navigate strategically through the building, finding trapped individuals and lead them out to an exit, hence the name of the game. You'll be faced with many interesting and very elaborate obstacles, allowing each mission to become more and more complex as you progress. Oh, and don't think you're going to be the only star of the show. After all, when it comes to escaping a very catastrophic building, everyone needs to work together if they truly want to survive, just like in a real-life scenario. With your strategic brain as an escape artist, and the help of each individual capability, you can give them actions to perform and help them to escape, such as carrying an item, using an item, unlocking and opening doors, etc. Depending on the individual you encounter, each will have their own sets of unique capabilities they can perform. For instance, a child can crawl through tight small spaces or even walk on very light platforms that would otherwise break if an adult tried to walk on them. Also, you may encounter patients who can't get around on their own. How will you rescue them? This sort of element adds more complexity to the game in an already complicated situation, allowing you, the player in your profession as an escape artist, to use your critical thinking ability and strategically helping everyone exit the building alive. And for that, I would really love to see Exit and its sequel make a surprise port to the Switch.
Hello!
By now you're probably wondering, well, why don't you get a PlayStation 2, Ultra? Well, I have my PlayStation 2 and I tend to play it every once in a while, but you have it on the Switch and on the go would be the most amazing thing ever. Why not? It won't hurt for the company's game or Nintendo, as they will see a resurgence in older titles among new and veteran players. You just gotta put your idea out there and maybe the universe will find a way to make it happen. Who knows? Maybe the president of Nintendo might accidentally stumble upon this video and say, hey, these are some awesome collection of games. Let me see what I can do. Well, anyways, these are my 5 amazing game series I would love to see on Nintendo Switch. Also, I'm really eager to know what sort of games you want to see on the Switch. Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, please leave a like and sub if you're new. Or you can dislike, no hard feeling. And thanks for watching. Ultra signing out.